Hello, sixth graders. Welcome to the next math lesson for this particular year. Today we're taking a look at lesson 106. Our lesson for today is entitled Two-Step Equations, and we're going to begin on page 553 in your textbook. If you remember a number of lessons ago, we've been talking about this phrase. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And we use this phrase to help us remember what order do we solve an equation? What order do we do them when we have more than one operation in a problem? And as a review, whenever you have the word please, that stands for parentheses. We do whatever is inside parentheses first. Then we have the word excuse. Excuse stands for exponents. Do the exponents second. And then we have my dear. My dear stands for multiplication and division. Now, whenever you have both of them at the same time, you would always do whatever one comes first. So that does not always mean you're going to do multiplication first. Sometimes you might actually use division first, but multiplication and division should be on the same line as each other. If you have them both, you do whichever one is listed first. And then last, we have the words Aunt Sally. This deals with addition and subtraction. And so it's kind of like multiplication and division, addition and subtraction are on the same level with each other, which means if you have to do both at the same time, then you would do whichever one comes first. So you don't always do addition first. Sometimes you might have to do the subtraction. Now, see, this is going to help us when we're trying to find the answer. The clue here is when you're trying to find the answer to a problem. So here, notice this problem here. There's no answer over here. This is what we're trying to figure out. There's no answer. So we have to use that please excuse my dear Aunt Sally to help us out. So the first thing I would do is parentheses, which I'm going to do the 6 minus 3 first. 6 minus 3 is 3, so I'm going to write that down. And then I would do the 7 times 3 here. I'm going to bring the minus 10 times 2 down, okay? Now, next thing I do is exponents. Again, no exponents. Then I check multiplication and division. I have two separate multiplications. They are not attached to each other, so I'm going to go ahead and multiply them at the same time. 7 times 3, 21. 10 times 2, 20. Bring the subtraction symbol down. And now the last thing I'm going to do is addition and subtraction, which is 21 minus 20, and the answer is 1. So if I'm trying to find an answer, this is the order that I would do the problems with. And we've done these before in previous lessons. This is nothing new. Well, in today's lesson, we're going to be kind of doing the opposite. In today's lesson, the answer is actually going to be given for you, which means they're going to tell you what the answer is. We actually have to find one of these missing numbers, one of either this one or this one or this one. We got to find one of these missing numbers here. And so in order for us to figure out that missing number, since we know the answer and we're trying to find the missing number, it's almost like we're going backwards, which means we are going to do this right here in the opposite order, which means today, if I know the answer, I'm actually going to be doing the addition and subtraction stuff first. Then I'm going to do the multiplication and division. Now, I know that seems opposite as to what we just talked about before, but understand these are two totally different problems, sixth graders. This problem here had no answer. We had to find the answer. In the ones for today, they're going to give you an answer. You got to try to find that missing number. All right, so let's take a look at a number of problems for today. All your problems are going to look very similar to this, where they're going to say, solve this problem. They're going to say 3n minus 1 equals 20. Like I said, notice this problem here actually tells you what the answer is. So the answer is given, which means I don't want to do the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I'm actually going to do it in the opposite order. Now let's take a look at this problem, 3n minus 1. As a review, sixth graders, whenever you see 3n, this means the same as 3 times n. Okay, 3 times n minus 1. All right, so that means 3 times n, and then we're going to subtract 1 to equal 20. So now, how do we solve this problem? What we want to try to do is we want to try to get this n to be all by itself on this side of the equal sign. See where the equal sign is? Which means I want to bring this 1 over here, and I want to bring this 3 over here. And in order for me to do that, sixth graders, I'm going to do the opposite, the inverse of what's happening right now. Now, I told you we want to get rid of the addition and subtraction stuff first. So notice that this problem here has a -1. In order for me to get rid of it on this side, I want to do the opposite of that. So sixth graders, here's the question. What is the opposite of subtracting 1? I'm hoping you were able to answer. The opposite of subtracting 1 is adding 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 1 to both sides of the equal side. 1 on this side and 1 on this side. Okay? Then I draw my line. So now I didn't do anything to the 3n. So I'm going to have 3n right here. Now if I take a -1 and I add 1, I hope you realize that that means that that's 0. So in essence, this canceled each other out. And now I do equals, and now I add over on this side, 20 plus 1, which is 21. Now I want to get rid of this 3. And so what am I doing to the n right now? Right now I'm multiplying the n by 3. Right now I'm multiplying by 3. So like I just did a minute ago, what would be the opposite of multiplying by 3? I'm hoping that you told me that the opposite of multiplying by 3 is dividing by 3. So I'm going to divide this side by 3, and I'm going to divide this side by 3. And by doing that, 3 divided by 3 is 1. So those two cancel. So now I'm left just on that side with the letter n. And now n is going to equal 21 divided by 3, and 21 divided by 3 is 7. And so 7 should be the right answer. Now in the assignment today, it's going to say, why don't you check to see if your answer is right? How do you check to see if your answer is right? Let's take this number here now, and let's go ahead and plug it into this problem to see if I would get 20 as my answer. So if I plug 7 in here, now I would take the 3 times 7, which is 21, and then subtract 1, that equals 20. Yep, there's a good way to check to see if I did it right. Let's come on over here to this problem over here. I have 4x minus 5 equals 35. Again, this means 4 times x, and I'm subtracting 5. And so what I want to do is I want to get rid of the addition and subtraction first. So right now I'm subtracting 5. I want to do the opposite of that. I'm going to do the opposite of subtracting 5, which is adding 5. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. And when I add 5 to both sides, I have 4x minus 5 plus 5 equals 0. So those pretty much cancel each other out. Equals 35 plus 5 is 40. And now I'm left with 4 times x equals 40. I'm going to do the opposite of multiplying by 4, which means I'm going to divide this both sides by 4. So 4 over 4 is the same as 1. So I'm left with x equals 10. And I can go back and check it. So 4 times 10 is 40, minus 5, 35 is my answer. That's how I know I did it right. These next couple problems right here is a little bit different now because I'm adding now, and so the opposite of adding would be subtracting. So this problem here is 6 times w plus 4 equals 70. So what I want to do is I want to get rid of the addition and subtraction first. So I want to do the opposite here. What is the opposite of adding 4? Subtracting 4. And again, the reason why I'm doing the opposite 6th grade is I'm trying to get rid of this 4 on this side. I don't want this 4 to be here anymore. So the opposite of adding 4 would be to subtract 4. And I'm going to subtract 4 to both sides. And I'm left now this side here being 6w equals, and I would take 70 minus 4. 70 minus 4 is 66. And now I'm taking 6 times w. The opposite of multiplying by 6 is dividing both sides by 6. So 6 divided by 6 is 1, so that cancels that out. So w is going to equal 11. My w equals 11. A few more problems, and hopefully you got this kind of down now. We got 2 times t plus 7 equals 35. So I want to get rid of this addition and subtraction first. So I want to do the opposite. So the opposite of adding 7 would be to subtract 7 to both sides. And when I do that, I have 2t, and then plus 7 minus 7 equals 0. So those two kind of cancel each other out. Equals 35 minus 7 is 28. And now I'm multiplying this side by 2, so the opposite of that would be dividing by 2. And so 2 over 2 equals 1. Those cancel. So in this problem here, t is going to equal 14. Next problem, I have 3 times n plus 1 equals 16. Again, I know the answer, so that means I have to do the addition and subtraction first to figure this out. So what is the opposite of adding 1? The opposite of adding 1 is subtracting 1. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 1 to both sides. And this deals with 3n plus 1 minus 1. Those cancel. That's 0 equals 16 minus 1, which is 15. And now I'm multiplying by 3 right now. The opposite of multiplying by 3 is dividing by 3. So I go ahead and divide both sides by 3. 15 divided by 3. So this would be 3 divided by 3 is 1. So I'm left with n equals 5 is my answer. Okay. Last one here. I have 4 times w. 4 times w, and I'm subtracting 1 to equal 35. Since I know the answer, I want to get rid of the addition and subtraction first. So what is the opposite of subtracting 1? Yeah, the opposite of subtracting 1 is adding 1. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides. And when I add 1 to both sides, I have 4 times w. Negative 1 plus 1, those cancel each other out. I have 35 plus 1, and that's going to equal 36. And now what I'm doing, I'm multiplying both sides. I'm multiplying the side by 4. I want to do the opposite, so I'm going to divide this side by 4, divide this side by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. So I'm left with w on this side. W equals 36 divided by 4, which is 9. And 9 would be the answer here. Okay. So again, 6th graders, with these problems, if you know the answer, then you have to do the addition and subtraction first. If you don't know the answer, then you have to do your normal, please excuse my dear aunt salad. That's really the difference between these problems. Okay. All right. Now it's time to give you your assignment for today. Your assignment is going to be to do pages 554 through 556, and you are looking to do letters A through 24. If anything was unclear about this lesson, please feel free to go back and watch it again to clear up any points that might have caused a little confusion. If you have questions for me, as always, please reach out to me. I'm here to help you the best that I can. So good luck at doing your assignment today, 6th graders. If you have questions, let me know. If not, we'll see you with the next lesson.